So we changed one color in the background and now we have an entirely different look for our website. In the same way, we did one change in the font settings and now we have a completely different typography for our website. But all this magic is only possible if we do these settings correctly. Let's find out. In this video, we are going to take a look at how we can set up global fonts and colors in Elementor in the correct way. So if you want to know how you can have consistent colors and fonts in your WordPress website, then let's dive in our Elementor backend and let's get started. So here we are in our WordPress backend, and the first thing we need to do is to go to Elementor. Under settings, we need to make sure in general we have disabled default colors and disabled default fonts is always checked on, so that whatever we defined in the theme settings of our Elementor backend will reflect easily on the pages. And after that, we just need to make sure to save changes. And now here we are in our Elementor editor. Now, one of the main principles of building a good and a usable website is that you make sure that you use consistent fonts and colors on all the elements of your website, so that if you need to make any changes in any element or on the entire website, you don't have to edit every element on every page. You do the changes in one place and it should reflect on every element on every page. And that's what we are going to cover here as well. So here we have a sample page, and right now we are inside our Elementor editor. So here we are going to define two things: our global fonts as well as our global colors. And for Elementor, we need to go to site settings. And with the latest version of Elementor, you get the site setting options here at the very top. We need to click on this, and here we have design system where we can set global colors and global fonts. After that, we have theme style where we can define the styling of various elements of this website, or I should say the theme that we are building. Now, defining global colors is the easy part, but it's a little bit complex thing when we talk about the global fonts. We will discuss that in the later part of this video. But let's first talk about global colors. So if we click here we can define our system colors, as well as we can also add some custom colors as well. Now by default, you will get this style guide preview turned on. This is how it's going to look. So this is going to give you a quick preview of what colors you are setting. But I personally don't like this. I would prefer to switch this off so that I can see live how the colors are looking on my website. So here we have system colors first. And here we've defined the color for primary, secondary, the body text, as well as the accents, which define the links as well as buttons. So based on your website design, you can click on here and then add the color code and then do the same for rest of these. Now, in order to add more colors in global settings, we have custom colors option. So I have added a black color as well as an orange shade here. If you want to add more, just click on add colors. Give it a name here and then define the color. Let's say we choose a shade of green. So I'll choose this color picker, choose the green color from here, and I'll click on this. So if you look on the left hand side, it already selected my green color here. Or you can simply place the color code here as well. Once that is done, let's go ahead and click on save changes. Now if we come back, so let's close this site setting so that we can go back to our normal Elementor editor. So now we are back here, and if we click on this main container, we go in style, we have added the background type as color, and here we have selected secondary. So now you see we have a completely different color for our background. If I choose any other color, like let's say we choose green, it's going to take the global color green and apply at the background. Now this one is pretty straightforward. You can either choose the color from this color picker or you choose the global color palette. If I need to change the complete look and feel of my website, I don't have to change the color for each element, like the background color here, or maybe the icon color here, or anywhere else where I have used this color. All I have to do is just go back to my site settings. I just have to change my secondary color. So instead of this shade of purple, maybe I want a different shade. So I can just drag this slider here. And now if you notice, it's changing the color in the background. Along with that, it's also changing the colors here for these icons. So let's say if I select this one and then click on Save Changes. Now wherever I have assigned this secondary system color as my global color, it's going to update on all the elements on my website. So once again, I don't have to search for each element where I have used this color and then update it. So this is how we can define and use global colors for our WordPress website. And now comes the little bit complex part, that is global fonts. Now in the same site setting, we have first option, that is global fonts. We have theme style, and under that we have typography. So let's first talk about global fonts. Let's click here, and just like our global colors, we have system fonts where we can define primary, secondary, text and accent. So for text, it is pretty straightforward. It's the typography that we can define for the body of our website. And similarly for accent, we can define typography for our links as well as the typography of these buttons. Along with that, we can also add a custom style. So we can give it a name here, and then just like global colors, we can define a custom fonts. So I'll just go ahead and delete this one. And how it's going to affect our website, we will talk about that in just a few minutes. Let's go back in the site settings. Let's save these changes. And now we have another option, that is typography. And here as well, we can define the body typography as well as we can define the typography for our links, H1, H2 and all the other title tags. Now here is a little bit of confusion. If we have defined the typography here in the primary, secondary, text as well as accent, so you might get confused, should I define my global typography or should I define the typography here in the theme style? And the answer is it depends how you are building the content for your website. Now let me try to explain that with an example. Let me scroll down here in the main content area. These headings here are H2 tag. And now just like our global color palette, if I change the settings or typography for H2, it's going to affect all the H2 headings on my website. Let me show you that. If I go in the theme style in typography, and for the H2 tag, let's say if I change the typography and instead of Roboto, I use some other font, let's say this one. Now you can see the title here got updated with the new font. So wherever I have used H2 tag, it's going to update the typography for that. But this setting will only work if I have not selected any global typography for these headings. Let me first save the changes and I'll explain that. Now let's go back to editor and let's click on this heading here. And if I go in the style, you can see that in the typography, I have not selected any global style. So if I click on this icon here, you can see nothing is checked here. So let's say if I select secondary here, this is going to override whatever we have selected for our H2 tag in theme settings. So as mentioned before, it depends how you are designing the content style for your website. Now to keep it simple, I prefer to define my global fonts here, whatever I want, but I do not select these global fonts while I am adding my headings on my page. I let my theme style typography do the job. Whatever settings I have done for my typography under the theme style will get reflected on my pages. So what's the purpose of these global fonts? Now you can use these only in case when you have some special requirement. So once again, let's say we have this text here and I want this to stand out, and I'm going to use some similar text on some other places on my website. So what I can do is I can select the secondary system font style here and I can give it a font style. Let's select some weird one and let's save the changes. And we come back here for this heading, and in typography, I choose the default or the global settings and then select my secondary font style. So my settings or the font style that I have defined in secondary font will only reflect to those elements which I select them explicitly here. Otherwise, it's going to take the typography whatever I have defined for titles. So these global fonts, that is primary or secondary, I would highly recommend that you only use when you have some special need, maybe in a banner or maybe any special heading that you want to put up. Otherwise, my personal preference will always be defining my style in this typography section. But here comes an important part. Make sure you do not overwhelm your website with different fonts. Just try to keep it in between 2 to 3 fonts. A major font for your all titles, one for your body and other text, and maybe the third one you can use for special titles. And this will surely help to increase your website speed because you are not requesting different type of fonts from Google library. Along with that, if you are using Google Fonts, you can simply download the fonts from Google website and upload it in the Elementor backend in custom fonts so that the fonts will load locally instead of making requests from the Google site. So this is how we can set up global colors and fonts in Elementor in the correct way so that we don't have to edit every page and every element to make the desired changes. Along with that, make sure you watch this video right here to learn more about how you can do amazing things using Elementor. So if you like this video, then make sure you give it a like, and if you want to watch more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so that you can get notified whenever we upload our next video. That's it for this one, and I'll see you in the next video.